Yo, what's good, squad? Welcome back. For those of you that don't know, my name is NSG Chris. Got a crazy video for y'all today, man. We got NFL players who ruined their career. Let's see what it's talking about.
$1 million contracts, nationwide
$1 billion
fame.
contract.
These are the
dreams
dreams players chase from the moment they first put on a helmet. But some of the league's biggest talents made choices that destroyed their careers in an instant. Today, we're looking at the downfall of NFL stars who lost it all, from Super Bowl glory to freedom itself. Let's start off with none other than Ray Rice. This guy used to terrify NFL defenses. Ray Rice was basically a walking highlight reel, and every now and then, he would flip a game on its head. When he was at his best, he had incredible vision and quick cutting ability that left defenders grabbing nothing but air. He only stood at 5 feet 9 inches tall, but what he didn't have in height, he certainly made up for with his power and the ability to make guys miss. After showing several flashes in his rookie year, Rice blew up in 2009 with over 2,000 yards from scrimmage.
Ooh.
And he kept it going with 3 more dominant seasons, making multiple Pro Bowl appearances and getting second-team All-Pro honors twice. He most likely would have made All-Pro first team, but this is right when Adrian Peterson and Chris Johnson were running the league. You can trace Rice's big play ability all the way back to his college days at Rutgers. In 2006 and 2007, he put up over 4,000 total yards and 45 touchdowns in just those 2 seasons alone. A lot of people think the Heisman voters simply ignored him just because he played at Rutgers instead of a big-name school, which is certainly possible. His career hit its peak in February of 2013 when the Ravens beat the 49ers in Super Bowl 47. As the confetti came down in New Orleans, Rice was standing on top of the football world. But then everything fell apart just 1 year later on February 15th, 2014.
That's my mom's birthday.
Rice and his then fiancee, Janae Palmer, got into an incident at an Atlantic City hotel and casino. At first, reports called it minor and both were charged with simple assault. The Ravens stood by their star during this process, with head coach John Harbaugh publicly supporting him. Then the video came out on February 19th. The original security footage showed Rice dragging Palmer from an elevator. The NFL didn't punish him until July 24th, and even then, they only gave him a measly 2-game suspension. It got people furious at Commissioner Roger Goodell for how he handled this domestic violence case. But in September of 2014, TMZ dropped the full elevator video. The graphic footage showed Rice hitting Palmer, knocking her out with one punch.
But one thing that I want to do today...
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not knocking females out. We're not doing that, y'all. That's crazy, bro.
You know, apologize to my wife, who I've known since high school.
Despite publicly
apologizing, chat, was that his wife or that was
Rice?
Or that was a random girl?
Again, his comeback efforts went nowhere as teams wouldn't touch him. A promising career that should have lasted several more years,
like that. That's crazy.
Because of a terrible decision.
Yeah, was that his wife or was that a random? Y'all let me know in the comments. Was that his wife or a random like female he was, dealing with at the time? Regardless of the fact, it really don't matter. It was just wrong. Plain just wrong. But I just wanted to know that detail.
Dwayne Goodrich looked like he was going to be an NFL star. This cornerback from Tennessee had everything coaches dream about: speed, instincts, and that special ability to make huge plays when the game was on the line. His biggest moment came during the 1998 Fiesta Bowl against Florida State. With Tennessee holding on to a 7-point lead early in the second quarter, Goodrich made his play of his life. Going up against star receiver Peter Warrick, he picked off a pass from Marcus Outson, took it 54 yards to the house. That touchdown helped lead Tennessee to a national championship, and Goodrich was named Defensive MVP. The Dallas Cowboys saw Goodrich as the answer to their secondary issues. They used their top pick in the 2000 draft on him, grabbing the cornerback in the second round. But things got tough once he hit the NFL. Goodrich struggled to get on the field, playing in just 5 games during his rookie year. He missed the 2001 season because of an Achilles injury, and in 2002, he only started once in 11 games. But soon, Goodrich's struggles on the field would be completely overshadowed by something much worse. Early in the morning on January 14th, 2003, he was driving his BMW through Dallas after a night out. Up ahead on the highway, there had just been a crash, and 2 people had stopped to help pull someone from a burning car. Goodrich's car hit both of them and they passed away at the scene.
Come on, family. Come on, man. Come on, man. For real? What was this dude thinking, man?
Third man who survived but ended up with a shattered leg.
He out of.
Instead
He's
of
done
stopping
for.
to help, Goodrich drove away.
Oh my god. Yeah, he's cooked. I ain't gonna lie, Chad. He's cooked. Chad, he's cooked, Chad. Chad, he's cooked, Chad. Ain't no way the NFL let him back in there after that. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Finesse 2 times. No, you don't get away that much. Ain't that much getting away in the world. You don't get away that much. Like, that's crazy to me, bro.
The scene. I left the scene because I panicked. I left the scene because of selfish reasons.
You left the scene because you panicked. Which is kind of understandable because everybody handles situations differently, guys. But you got to understand, man, we all grown adults. You do something wrong, bro, you got to stand in the paint, bro. You can't, like, you, and then you'll end up dead. When it comes to athletes and people that we as the normal community, you know, and hopefully I won't be in the normal community long. There's nothing wrong with that. But our goal is to, you know, elevate. But we as the normal community, and I'm just saying this as a whole, because I don't idolize these people, but as a whole, we expect them to be better. You know what I mean? So he's kind of an example or a role model to some people. So you can't really say you panicked. That's why you kept going. You can't do that, bro. You hit somebody, you gotta stand in the paint. And you gotta just take whatever comes with it, bro. Come on, man.
I saw everything that I worked for flashing
Fly
from
before
my
you.
face.
It's too late, man.
Didn't
Like,
really want to deal with the consequences of what I did, the consequences of the choices that I made.
The Cowboys cut him a month later, and in court, Goodrich was convicted of criminally negligent homicide with a deadly weapon and failure to stop and render aid. The judge gave him 12.5 years in prison, ending whatever was left of his NFL career and completely changing the course of his life. Once he got out of prison, Goodrich graduated from Tennessee in 2014, and since then, he's become a public speaker and talks about that morning of 2003.
That's good.
Stating that young
That's good.
people do not make the same mistake that he did, and trying to teach them to do better.
I like that he's making a change though. He using his influence and his voice for a good reason for the younger community. But what I will say is, you also have to be grateful that, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. You killed 2 people and shattered a third person's back, and you only got 12 years. The judge only gave you 12.5. You have to be grateful for that. You have to. And I'm not saying that he
Ray
isn't. I'm just saying.
Caruth was another guy who was electric on the college football field. At Colorado,
The people who never had their family back. That's it.
the
Like,
conference with 1,008 receiving yards in 1995, and then with 1,116 yards and 8 touchdowns in 1996.
y'all look at my prime, bro. I have more than that. That's little numbers to me. You know, I have 1,515. You know, but we ain't gonna.
Success
do your
in
research,
college
bro. I'm
caught the
telling you, do your
attention of
homework,
NFL scouts, especially the Carolina Panthers, who grabbed him in the first round of the 1997 NFL Draft. As the 27th overall pick, he came to Charlotte with huge expectations. His rookie season showed a bit of promise with 545 yards and 4 touchdowns. Panthers fans were hoping this was just the beginning of something special, but injuries and up and down play limited what he did over the next 2 seasons. In 1998, he only played in 2 games, getting just 59 yards. The 1999 season wasn't much better. 5 games, 14 catches, 200 yards, and 0 touchdowns. Still, at 25 years old, Caruth had plenty of time to turn things around. The Panthers were staying patient, believing that their investment would eventually pay off. Then came November 16th, 1999.
It began as a night at the movies. A football star and his pregnant girlfriend driving to a South Charlotte theater with 2 tickets to a film called The Bone Collector. As she drove home from the theater that night, Sharika Adams had no idea that she was about to become the victim in a very real murder mystery.
911 Baker, you need police, fire,
Oh,
at it.
police, I've been shot. I'm 8 months pregnant.
Caruth, driving ahead of Adams, suddenly stopped. When Adams stopped behind him, another car pulled up beside her. Multiple shots were fired into her car.
That's sad.
Eventually, she told dispatchers that Caruth had stopped in front of her before another vehicle pulled up. It
That was
pointed
a clear
directly
setup.
to
I'm about to
Caruth's
say, like,
involvement. Adams fought for her
Clear,
life,
bro.
but sadly passed away weeks later.
Wow.
Doctors were able to save her baby boy, Chancellor, though he did suffer brain
Come
damage and
on,
cerebral
man.
palsy from not getting enough oxygen. The investigation showed Carruth hired a man named Van Brett Watkins to kill Adams because she wouldn't end her pregnancy. Federal authorities found...
Now, y'all gonna hate me for saying this, or y'all may not. I just say what comes to my mind. I'm being honest. If you really ain't want nothing to do with the baby that the girl was having, and she wanted it, like I said, y'all probably not gonna like this, but I'm being real. I would have rather you been a deadbeat father than hire somebody to kill the mother and then leave the child ultimately disabled. Like, you just could have left as a whole. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. Or you could have not have done it at all. You know what I mean? You know, you do those type of activities, you know there's outcomes that can come, you know, there's things that come out of that. And one of those things are having a child. You know what I mean? So we gotta be a lot more responsible, man. Like, very irrational thinking. Stupid. But
hiding in the trunk of a car in Tennessee, and in 2001, he was convicted and ordered to spend anywhere from 18 to 24 years in prison. He was released from jail on October 22nd, 2018. CJ Spillman built his NFL career through pure determination on special teams. Despite going undrafted in 2009, this safety managed to stick on NFL rosters by becoming one of the league's most feared gunners on punt coverage. When you look at his special teams highlights, you can see Spillman flying down the field, showing the all-out kind of effort that coaches love to see. He played 6 seasons in the NFL with the Chargers, 49ers, and the Cowboys. While he hardly played on defense, starting just 1 game in his entire career, Spillman made an impact with a couple of clutch fumble recoveries and some massive hits. In 2014, Spillman landed with the Dallas Cowboys, where he kept doing his thing as a special teams weapon under coach Jason Garrett. But his NFL journey was about to hit a sudden wall. On September 20th, 2014, just hours after the Cowboys flew to St. Louis for a game against the Rams, Spillman sexually assaulted a woman at the team hotel. Even with these serious allegations, Spillman kept playing for the Cowboys throughout the 2014 season while investigators worked the case. In July 2015, a Texas grand jury indicted Spillman. The next year, he was convicted and got 5 years in prison. The conviction permanently ended his time in the NFL and destroyed whatever legacy
I wonder what
time.
I wonder what our ethnicity or race was. Even though that doesn't really matter, we don't. I mean, not at least not at this channel. We don't condone anything that has to do with sexual exploitation or harassment or just anything in that area. So, you know, I feel like he should have got longer, but I'm not a judge, so.
Henry Ruggs III was
I remember
pure
this
speed.
dude.
As the Raiders' 12th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the team brought him in for one
He's still in there right
reason:
now,
to
from what
blow
I-
the top off defense.
what I believe.
The Raiders
Y'all let me
even
know.
took him ahead of CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, which shows just how much stock they
This man got took ahead of CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson. How you can't mess that up, bro. You can't mess that up. They seen something then.
in him. This is the pick they desperately wish they could have back now, though. At Alabama, playing alongside future NFL stars like Devontae Smith, Calvin Ridley, and
Bro,
Jerry
nice.
Jeudy, Ruggs helped Alabama win the 2017 national championship as a freshman. His production in college got better every year, wrapping up with back-to-back seasons of 700-plus yards and 19 total touchdowns in his sophomore and junior years. The NFL Combine sealed his elite status when he ran a blazing 4.28 40-yard dash time, which was later updated to 4.27, one of the fastest times ever. Ruggs showed glimpses of his game-breaking ability during his first NFL season, averaging 17.4 yards per catch, which is amazing efficiency for a first-year player. His second season started even better. Through 7 games in 2021, he already had 469 yards receiving and was becoming one of Derek Carr's favorite deep threats, averaging nearly 20 yards every time he caught the ball.
This dude have 500 receiving yards in 7 games. Bro, this man got 20 yards a catch, bro. Like, that's crazy, bro.
The early morning hours of November 2nd, 2021.
Police report on the fiery wreck saying Ruggs was driving at 156 miles per hour.
156
with
is
a blood
entirely
alcohol
too
level
fast.
twice Nevada's legal limit.
This is what driving at 156 miles per hour looks like. You can see just how fast Henry Ruggs was going based on the speed of the other cars around him.
He is flying. I was told right about 2.5 seconds after he passes by, you hear screeching and then a loud bang.
Ruggs made a choice that would change multiple lives
For
forever.
what, bro?
He
For what?
crashed into 23-year-old Tina Tintor's vehicle. Her car burst into flames. Tintor and her dog Max died at the scene. The Raiders cut Ruggs immediately, and in 2023, he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison.
Come on, man. I still remember this dude. I think he's trying to, you know, he doing pretty good, and he trying to make the comeback. Y'all let me know. But that's another terrible decision, man. Like, you got the world in
Bam
the palm of
Morris
your hands, bro.
bulldozed through NFL defenses with a punishing style that made fans love him in the mid-90s. Texas
Oh,
Tech
that's crazy,
product
bro.
was built like a tank and ran with the kind of power that made smaller linebackers think twice before taking him head-on.
Bam is one of those guys that don't come along very often.
His name Bam. I know he hit hard.
People person. That is, unless you're a defender.
At Texas
No
Tech,
diddy.
Morris owned the Southwest Conference, leading in both rushing yards and touchdowns in 1993.
Oh, he running.
with
It
a
still don't
very
matter.
impressive
He running back. It don't matter.
1,753
Oh, he running
yards
50.
and 22 scores. The Steelers drafted him in the third round of the 1994 NFL Draft, and Morris hit the ground running as a rookie, rushing for 836 yards and 7 touchdowns while adding on another 204 yards catching passes. One of his best moments came the next season on the biggest stage, Super Bowl 30 against the Dallas Cowboys. Even though Pittsburgh lost this game, Morris still had a good showing, grinding out 73 yards and scoring a touchdown that briefly had Steelers fans believing a comeback was possible.
We're gone. Big dude, man.
Morris's NFL journey quickly ran into trouble. His production fell in the second season, and in March of 1996, police found more than 6 pounds of marijuana in his car during a traffic stop in Texas. The Steelers cut him soon after that incident. Though he got second chances with Baltimore and Chicago, Morris never really found his early form again. His time with the Ravens showed glimpses of what he could do. 774 yards in 1997, but it was overshadowed by a 4-game suspension in the beginning of the season for breaking the league's alcohol policy and a 120-day jail sentence. In 1998, he signed with the Chiefs, and during the final 6 weeks of the season, it looked like he was finding his groove once again. But in 1999, he just couldn't capitalize on that momentum. His career was basically over at that point. To make things even worse for him, his legal problems were just getting started. In April of 2000, Morris was arrested for trafficking controlled substances.
So
the
he
investigation showed he'd been running a major distribution network, personally handling over 220 pounds of marijuana around Kansas City. On September 10th, 2001, a judge gave Morris 10 years in prison. It was a shocking story, but it's not even as shocking as our next guy.
10 years? I remember this dude too.
Aaron Hernandez was a defensive coordinator's worst nightmare. He could line up as a traditional tight end, slot receiver, even in the backfield. When the Patriots grabbed Hernandez in the 4th round of the 2010 NFL Draft, which is the same year they got Rob Gronkowski, the whole league took notice. Bill Belichick, who's always one step ahead, saw a 2 tight end system that could change offensive football forever. By his second season in 2011, Hernandez became a key piece in New England's offense. Piled up 910 yards and 7 touchdowns while helping the Patriots get to Super Bowl 46. His college days at Florida also already showed potential. Playing with Tim Tebow, Hernandez won a national championship in 2008. And his Sugar Bowl performance the very next year against Cincinnati, 9 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown, showed off the talent that would soon give NFL defenses headaches. In August of 2012, the Patriots showed just how much they valued Hernandez by giving him a 5-year, $40 million contract extension. But behind all the touchdowns was surprising behavior. Hernandez had a history of violent incidents dating back to his Florida days. Reports later showed that many NFL teams had completely removed him off their draft boards because of character concerns, which would explain why he fell to the 4th round despite having 1st or 2nd round talent. On June 26, 2013, everything fell apart. Police arrested Hernandez in connection with the homicide of Odin Lloyd, a semi-pro football player who was dating the sister of Hernandez's fiance. The Patriots cut him within hours of the arrest. April of 2015, Hernandez was found guilty and got life in prison without parole.
Wow,
While serving this
that's
sentence, he was also
crazy.
charged with a double homicide from 2012, though he was later found not guilty of those charges.
Okay.
On April 19, 2017, prison guards found Hernandez in his cell. He had taken his own life at the age of 27.
Prison officials in Massachusetts confirming
Everybody
they found former
can,
New England Patriot and University of Florida standout Aaron Hernandez dead in his cell this morning.
Boston University
Everybody
researchers
can do
who
it, bro.
examined Hernandez's brain discovered that he suffered from an advanced form of CTE.
A study out today says former football star Aaron Hernandez had a severe form of CTE.
Can say it's a progressive degenerative brain disease. It is like Alzheimer's. It can start with memory loss, mood swings, and difficulty in concentration, developing into progressive dementia.
He was at one time the best player on the New England Patriots, in my opinion. That wasn't named Tom Brady. He was that.
Okay, he said in his opinion. I was about to say, I don't know what he talking about.
But hearing the CTE results, all of us former players are still curious to all of it, because me as a former player, I don't know what to believe, I don't know what to think, but all I know is I wonder. I wonder how much I have, and I wonder, you know, what am I going to be like in 5 or 10 years?
Hernandez is one of the most tragic stories in the history of the sport, but we've got a lot more crazy stories to come, including a Super Bowl hero who shot himself in a nightclub, a running back whose 15-year prison term began during his rookie season, and a bear on Boykin. But first, we got to look at Trevon Boykin. At TCU, he could beat you with his arm or with his legs, putting up over 10,000 career passing yards while also running for over 2,000 on the ground. In 2014, he threw for 3,901 yards with 33 touchdowns while rushing for another 707 yards and 8 scores. This got him named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, and he finished 4th in Heisman Trophy voting. But NFL teams had concerns about Boykin making the jump to the pros, questions about his size, accuracy, decision-making, and mainly some off-field issues left him undrafted in 2016. Seattle Seahawks took a chance on him, they saw his potential, and picked him up as a backup to Russell Wilson. Boykin's short NFL career peaked in Week 3 of the 2016 season when he came into the game against the 49ers, completed 7 out of 9 pass attempts for 65 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. These flashes suggested that he could develop into a solid NFL backup or even become a starter somewhere. But his career quickly fell apart off the field. In March of 2017, he was arrested as a passenger in a car that crashed into a Dallas bar, hurting several pedestrians. He faced charges of public intoxication and possession of marijuana. Things got even worse in March of 2018. According to police, Boykin assaulted his then-girlfriend, Shabrika Bailey, during an argument that started when he demanded that she unlock her phone. Security camera footage at his home showed everything. He put Bailey in a hospital with multiple breaks in her jaw, requiring it to be wired shut.
Former TCU quarterback Trevon Boykin will spend 3 years in prison for aggravated assault and also tampering with a witness.
And his legal problems didn't stop there. In December of 2019, he was arrested for theft after trying to leave a hotel without paying his bill. And in February of 2020, he pleaded guilty to several charges, including aggravated assault and tampering with a witness, getting a 3-year prison sentence. After getting out of jail, Boykin went back to playing some indoor football and also played in Mexico for a couple years.
That don't make no sense, bro.
At 6 feet 5 inches tall, Plaxico Burress towered over NFL secondaries. After the Steelers grabbed him 8th overall in the 2000 NFL Draft, he quickly made a name for himself as a serious deep threat. His time in Pittsburgh gave him 4 solid seasons after his rookie year, including back-to-back 1,000-yard years in 2001 and 2002. His big playability made him a hot commodity when he hit the free agency market in 2005. The New York Giants scooped him up, pairing him with Eli Manning in a move that completely changed their offense. And the investment paid off right away. Burress put up 1,214 yards and 7 touchdowns in his first year with the team. In 2007, his regular season numbers were really good. 70 catches, 1,025 yards, 12 touchdowns. But in Super Bowl 42 against the undefeated Patriots, Burress had his biggest moment yet, catching the game-winning 13-yard touchdown with just 35 seconds left, leading one of the biggest upsets in sports history.
Manning lobs it, Burress alone, touchdown New York!
Less than a year later, on November 29th, 2018, everything changed in a flash. While at the Latin Quarter nightclub in Manhattan, Burris was carrying an unlicensed .40 caliber handgun tucked into his jeans waistband. As he moved through the VIP section, the gun slipped down his leg, and when Burris reached for it, the weapon fired, sending a bullet through his right thigh. New York had very tough gun laws, and Burris didn't have a permit to carry a concealed weapon in either New York or New Jersey.
This one not that bad.
Michael Bloomberg publicly demanded that Burris be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Wow.
In August of 2009, Burris took a plea deal and got 2 years in prison. He was released in June of 2011 after serving nearly 2 years. Though he did try to make a comeback with the Jets and later returned to the Steelers, Burris never got back to his old form. His career effectively ended with a split-second mistake that cost him millions.
This ain't that bad compared to the ones that we done seen, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Cecil Collins came to the NFL with incredible raw talent and a troubled background. The running back, nicknamed the Diesel, led the SEC with 8.3 yards per carry during his time at LSU in 1997.
He's the most impressive running back I've ever seen in person.
Modern day Earl Campbell. Best running back I've seen.
Miami Dolphins took their chance on him in the 5th round of the 1999 draft, and Collins rushed for 414 yards in 8 games as a rookie. But on December 16, 1999, he made one decision that instantly destroyed his promising career.
You just saw one of the greatest running backs probably ever, and it was a blink of an eye and it was over.
He broke into a neighbor's apartment in Florida while the married couple inside was sleeping. When they spotted him, Collins ran but was quickly identified and arrested. He claimed to know the girl inside from the gym and quote-unquote only wanted to watch her sleep. The Dolphins cut him immediately, and by 2001, a judge had given him 15 years in prison for burglary. He got out a little bit early, and during his 13 years locked up, Collins developed a perspective that might shock you. In interviews, he actually suggested that prison might have saved his life considering the path he was on. He even found a personal connection behind bars, marrying a woman that he met when she was visiting another inmate. From NFL starter to spending more than a decade in prison, this is one of the fastest falls from grace that you'll see in league history. But the guys we're about to cover are a whole lot crazier. Sam Hurd lasted 5 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys from 2006 to 2010, creating a niche mainly on special teams. I mean, just 739 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns across 6 NFL seasons. His offensive stats weren't exactly eye-catching. His college career at Northern Illinois showed real potential, especially his impressive senior year where he racked up 1,074 yards and 13 touchdowns. That college production never translated to the pros, leaving Hurd battling for playing time and special teams roles. In July of 2011, his fortunes seemed to change when he signed a 3-year deal with the Chicago Bears worth more than $5 million, including a $1.35 million signing bonus. What teammates and coaches couldn't have seen coming was that Hurd had far bigger ambitions off the field than on it.
Friends call him God-fearing, a family man. So is it possible he was leading a double life, which could send him to prison for 40 years? And why would someone earning millions of dollars risk everything?
Everyone at the Bears say, good guy, great guy, quoting the Bible, great guy to be around. Obviously, he was conning them if he was involved in this, and he led a double life.
On December 14, 2011, federal agents arrested Hurd in a Chicago parking lot. Hurd told undercover officers that he wanted to buy 5 to 10 kilograms of Coca-Cola and 1,000 pounds of marijuana legally to distribute through Chicago. The Bears cut him immediately after the news broke. In April of 2013, Hurd pleaded guilty to conspiracy to possess the substances with intent to distribute. That November, the judge gave him 15 years in prison. After serving about 10 years, Hurd was released in January of 2023 to community confinement in San Antonio. So, how do you get more self-destructive than that? Well, let's find out. Darrell Henley looked like the perfect NFL success story. This UCLA All-American cornerback graduated with a 3.3 GPA in finance before becoming a cornerback for the Los Angeles Rams. On the field, he showed that he could make plays, grabbing 12 career interceptions, including solid seasons in 1991 and 1992 when he picked off 7 passes combined. With his college degree and strong family background, it seemed like he was going to do great things even after football. But the image everybody saw hid a completely different reality that would eventually wreck his career and land him in prison for decades. In 1993, we got the first sign that something might be wrong when 3 men were charged with trying to squeeze $100,000 from Henley, claiming he owed them $360,000 from an illicit deal. Henley didn't get charged at the time, but it certainly showed there were some serious problems that nobody knew about. Then by 1995, Henley's carefully built life collapsed when he was found guilty of drug trafficking. The court gave him 20 years in prison.
20
that was
years?
just the start of Henley's downfall. In 1996, while waiting for the appeal, he bribed a guard to sneak a cell phone into his cell. Using this hidden phone, Henley connected with somebody that he thought was a mobster named Joey Gambino. This supposed mafia guy offered Henley a piece of an illicit substances deal, but Henley's desperation pushed him to do something even worse. He tried to set up hits on the judge who sentenced him and Tracy Donahoe, the Rams cheerleader who was also involved.
Wow.
What Henley didn't know was that Joey Gambino was actually an undercover DEA agent recording every word. This plot added 21 years to Henley's sentence, bringing his total to 41 years. The cornerback who once had everything, education, athletic talent, and family support, had become a federal prisoner with no shot at freedom until his mid-60s. NFL careers can end in seconds, not just from getting injuries or by getting cut, but from the choices that are made off the field. Some of these guys had elite talent that we'll never get to fully appreciate, all because of their reckless decision-making. But I want to know what you guys think. Which of these downfalls shocked you guys the most? Or
man, look, y'all be safe out there. Y'all make sure y'all take care of y'all loved ones, take care of yourself. Health is wealth, man. Y'all make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all again, man. Peace.